The first thing you noticed about Blackwood Manor wasn't its age or its grandeur, but the silence. A silence so profound that it felt like a physical presence, a weight on your chest. Liam, a freelance sound engineer, had been hired by the new owner to install a state-of-the-art security system. The place was a relic of a bygone era, with its dusty tapestries, creaking floorboards, and lingering scent of decay and old secrets. The owner, a nervous man named Mr. Flinch, had given Liam one instruction: do not go into the West Wing. It's been sealed off for a reason. Liam shrugged it off, assuming it was a structural issue. He started in the main hall, setting up microphones to detect any unauthorized movement. As he worked, he heard it for the first time. A faint, rhythmic scratching, like nails on wood, coming from the floor above. He paused, holding his breath. The scratching stopped. He dismissed it as a house settling. Old houses make strange noises. The next day, the noises grew more distinct. The scratching was now accompanied by a low, guttural murmur. It sounded like a conversation, but the words were twisted, garbled, as if spoken through a mouthful of gravel. He took out his headphones and listened intently. The voices were coming from the sealed-off West Wing. He remembered Mr. Flinch's warning and decided to ignore it. He was here to do a job, not to investigate ghost stories. But that night, he woke up to the sound of music. A haunting, mournful melody played on a piano. The notes were hesitant at first, then gained confidence, filling the entire house with their tragic beauty. He knew the music was not a recording, it was live, and it was coming from the West Wing. Curiosity and a professional sense of duty overrode his fear. He had to find the source. He crept down the hall, flashlight in hand, his heart hammering against his ribs. The sound grew louder, clearer. He found a door in the West Wing sealed with heavy chains and a massive padlock. He pressed his ear against the cold wood. The music was so close he felt as if the piano were on the other side. He could hear the faint whisper of keys being pressed. But it wasn't just music. Buried beneath the melody was the same guttural murmuring, now intertwined with the piano notes. He ran back to his equipment and grabbed a parabolic microphone, a device designed to capture faint sounds from a distance. He aimed it at the West Wing door and put his headphones on. The sound that flooded his ears was so terrifying, he almost dropped the microphone. It wasn't a conversation. It was a single, long, agonizing scream. The guttural murmurs were the screams of someone being torn apart. And the piano music. The music was the echo of a song of mourning, played by someone who was now a part of the horror. He stumbled back, his mind reeling. He fled the manor, driving as fast as he could, the ghostly melody and the screams echoing in his head. He called Mr. Flinch the next morning and told him he quit. He didn't offer an explanation. Days turned into weeks, but the memory of the house wouldn't leave him. The screams haunted his nightmares, and he could still hear the piano music when he was alone. He tried to tell himself it was just his imagination, a trick of the mind. One night, as he was working on a new project, he heard the faint sound coming from his sound editing software. He turned up the volume and his blood ran cold. It was the piano music from the Blackwood Manor. He hadn't recorded anything in the West Wing, but the sound file was there. A ghost in his software, perfectly clear and chilling. He realized then, He hadn't just heard the echoes, he had brought them home with him. The silence of Blackwood Manor wasn't a lack of sound. It was a filter, a vessel, and he had opened a hole in it. The music grew louder, the guttural screams more distinct. He looked at the screen, and the waveform of the audio file wasn't just a series of peaks and valleys. It was a shape. A twisted, grotesque face with a gaping mouth. The last thing he heard before the screams became his own was a final, mournful piano note. A note of triumph. Liam had become the newest echo in Blackwood Manor. And somewhere, someone else was hearing the faint sounds of his last moments, not knowing that they were the next ones to be haunted by the echoes.